Hey everyone, in this lesson we're going to start coding our Soundboard app. Let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I've got a screen with absolutely nothing in it. It's just a brand new project. And when we think about this project that we're building, we're thinking, what do we need? And we need a button for somebody to click, and then we want a sound to play. So I'm going to go ahead and start that off with a button. I'm just going to throw a button here. And a big part of coding is just doing a little bit at a time, because if you do more, and things don't go the way as planned, you just wasted a bunch of time. So we're just gonna do one button at a time, and then we're gonna try to go for a second button after that. So we've got our first button, and we're gonna need our sound, and we're gonna be using that Daft Punk song, so it's gonna say work. So we're gonna go ahead and go to Files over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and click and find my Work It sound. Great. Notice that the sound file has no spaces in it. That's going to help prevent a bug in your future. So make sure if you're using different sound files that it doesn't have any spaces. So we get it on in and boom. So we've got our sound and our button. And if we test this right now, you'll see it does absolutely nothing. Why? Because we didn't tell it what we wanted to do. So let's go and see if we can tell it what to do. I'm going to go ahead though and do some good practices here and show you. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna change the name of our button. It's gonna be called our Work It button because it's gonna say Work It. So we got our Work It button, and I might as well make the text say Work It. Great. So we've got the Work It button. It looks good and it's got its own name. And now what we need to do is we need a sound component. We don't have anything that's gonna play sound. All we do is we have a file, and we need a little tool to play that file, or a component to play that file. So I'm gonna go down to voice, I believe. Yeah, and I'm gonna go and grab this sound component. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw the sound component in here, and now we've got the sound component. Great. Since it's our only sound component, I'm just gonna leave it like that. And then let's go ahead and see if we can code some of this. I'm going to head over to the blocks, and we'll see that we have our Work It button and our sound component. Awesome. So I'm thinking in my head, what's the event? Well, I want it so that when the Work It button is clicked, then play the sound. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Work It button. And now I want to say when it's clicked, I want it to play the sound. So I can go to my sound component, and I'm going to hit play. Right? Notice it gets bigger after you pull it out. Don't worry about that. These little green blocks that stick out, those are outputs that might happen. So like, let's say the sound can't play for whatever reason, an error would appear. And we can do stuff with that error. We can grab it and put it places. So should we try it? Do you think it's gonna work? I'm just gonna live test it just on my screen, just to show you that it doesn't work. Now, why doesn't it work? Well, the big answer is you're not having it connected to the sound. The sound component isn't connected to the file that we have. So what we need to do is two options. We can either A, under the sound component, grab the source and say, hey, play the Work It sound. Or we can go ahead and we can go to our sound component here, and we can change the source here to the Work It sound. All right? And remember, just like that game that you played, it works in order. So whatever you tell it to do first, it's gonna do that thing first, and then it'll do the block underneath it, and so forth. So we've got our Work It sound. Let's see if it plays it now. We can go to live test here, and we could play it here. And it plays the sound, perfect. And then I'll even do a live test on my phone over here to just make sure it works on the phone, because it's more fun that way. Let's see. So I got it on here. I'm gonna hit live test, and I can hit and it works. So far so good. Now that we have one sound, we should try to do two sounds. Now here's a really good coding tip. Whenever you get something to work, you should always make a copy of that file. That way, if you do something that breaks everything, you have a place to start at. So there's actually a make copy button over here. I'm gonna go ahead and click that, and it'll automatically make a copy of the file. Perfect. So now I'm gonna go back to my designer, and now we wanna make it button, because it's gonna go Work It, make it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab the button and throw it in here. Awesome. Now I need to change the name of my button, right? I can put it as make it button. Cool. So I've got my make it button. I might as well make it say make it. And now what we'll do is we'll code this all and see if it works. So I can go ahead and go to the make it button and then grab the sound component, or the quick trick is I can either right click on this and click duplicate, or I can copy and paste it with the command based on your computer. So if it's a Mac, it's Command C, Command V. If it's a PC, it's Control C, Control V. So now I can just use these drop downs and change it to the make it button. So I can go ahead and change this to the make it button. Now, what's going to happen now is, if you understand the logic here, it's just going to say work it twice, because we're not telling it what to do here. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. Yeah, they're all just saying work it. So what we need to do is we need to say, hey, change the source. All right. So we're going to say, hey, change the source. So the sound component is kind of like a CD player or a DVD player or a Blu-ray player or an Xbox or PlayStation, where we tell it what to play and then it plays it. We give it the source, whether that be a video game or a CD or a Blu-ray, and then it plays it. So we're going to say, hey, play the source work it when you do the work it button. And I can duplicate this and I could say, hey, play the source. Oh, I have to add my other source. Let's go ahead and add my other source here too. And we're gonna use the make it source. And notice I didn't use any spaces. I used a dash on that one instead of a space. And now I should be able to change it to the make it source. Let's give it a try and see what happens here, all right? So I got my phone here. And, okay. Now let's try it a little faster.
Make it.
We're running into some issues here, if you haven't noticed, right? So what's going on? Well, this sound component isn't super fast. It doesn't just pick up exactly what needs to be played and play it right away. It takes a little time for the sound to get loaded, right? So that's kind of a problem for this app that we're trying to build, because we're trying to make it so that people can push the button whenever they want. So what we can do is, instead of using one sound component, we can use multiple sound components. So what does that mean? That means that we can have one sound component that's only in charge of playing work it, and one sound component that's only in charge of playing make it. So it's pretty simple to do that. We're gonna go back to our designer and we're gonna call this original sound component, we're gonna call it the work it sound. So I'm gonna erase this and type in work it sound. Great, and now I'm gonna grab another sound component over here and I'm gonna call this one the make it sound. And now I can just change my source over here to make it. So I've got my make it sound and my work it sound. I can get rid of these source files here. And I'm just using the backspace button to get rid of that. And then I'm gonna make this one be called the make it sound. All right, let's go and see if this works. So I'm gonna hit live test here. All right, let's give it a shot.
Make it.
Yeah, it's working.
Make it. Make it. Make it. Make it.
Great. And that's our app. So now your task is to make more buttons for all of your sounds. Remember, you could use the sounds that I've provided, or you could use any sounds that you want, especially if you have little kids and you want to make a sound that's like, this is the pig, and it goes oink, oink. This is the horse, and it goes, or whatever you'd like, all right? Enjoy and have fun with this, and then I'll see you in the next video where we're going to start using a conditional to add a silent button, or a silent switch, I should say. I'll see you there, and have fun with this.